Hey folks, this is Kalani. The War Within Prepatch is almost here, and it's going to change the game in some pretty drastic ways. Almost everything will become account-wide thanks to the Warband system. How you earn transmog will be completely changing. There's a massive overhaul to the flying mount system, including way more mounts that can dragon ride, and leveling is going to be so much faster and make a lot more sense for newer players. We've got a lot of class changes coming our way, as well as plenty of user interface updates and additions too. So let's go over everything coming in the War Within Prepatch and when all of these changes will go live. Now before we jump in, be sure to hit up that like button and subscribe so you never miss another video. Perhaps one of the largest changes that we'll see in Prepatch is the introduction of the Warband system. Warbands are kind of just a fancy way of saying account-wide progress. Your Warband consists of every character on your account, even across multiple servers and factions. So whenever something is Warband-wide or Warband-bound, it affects every character on your account, not just the ones on your current server. For example, the new reputation and renown grind in the War Within is going to be Warband-wide progress, so you don't ever have to regrind your renown levels or reputation with any factions. This will start with the War Within factions as well as most Dragonflight factions too, so all of your renown progress should be shared when Prepatch goes live, but eventually this should cover pretty much every rep and faction in the game. So this means that you can progress halfway through a renown track on one character, and then if you decide to play some alts or maybe swap your main entirely, you keep that progress. Most activities will have a first time bonus for rep gains, so playing multiple alts won't put you ahead of everyone else, but you will be able to benefit from your progress on every character. This is going to make playing alts so much better and more enjoyable. Another great example of Warband progress are going to be the Delves, a new solo endgame content option coming in the War Within. As you progress through Delves, you'll be leveling up a companion. That companion's experience and progress is Warband-wide, so not only will your alts get a big leg up when you start taking them into Delves thanks to that powered up companion, but progress you make on your alts is also going to benefit your main. This also extends into things like flight paths. When Warbands go live with Prepatch, your flight path unlocks will be shared with every character, so you don't have to go chasing down every flight master on your alts. They will be unlocked for every character as soon as you get them once, which is going to be great for leveling up in the War Within. You only have to get each new flight path once, and then any of your alts can just fly wherever you've already learned. Now before we continue, how does winning a gaming console, smartphone or Amazon gift card sound? Well, Raid Shadow Legends has the perfect event for you. All you need to do is download Raid via my link or QR only, go to summertavern.plarium.com, enter your Raid ID and start searching for hidden items. You can win gaming consoles, smartphones, Amazon gift cards and legendary champions. You can also get 2 months of YouTube Premium for free just by downloading Raid before July 17th, playing for at least 5 days and getting to level 20. Now if you've ever wanted to jump into Raid but felt like you'd be too far behind, I've got the perfect solution for you. By using the code MonkeyKing, you'll get a free legendary champion, Sun Wukong, giving you one of the best starts you could hope for in your raid adventures. Monkey King is a popular character from Chinese mythology and folklore. He is known for his superhuman abilities, intelligence and trickery. The champion Sun Wukong has a special set of abilities that allow him to be a force within any raid team. If you haven't started playing Raid yet, you can use our link in the description or scan the QR code on screen to receive a massive starter pack only available via our link, which includes the epic champion Tyrell, and after reaching level 25 you get another epic champion Rector Drath. Be sure to join our clan, Kalani Salamis, and I'll see you in game. Now, getting back to the video, you will also have the option to share exploration progress as well. This one isn't automatic, but there's a new map toy, the Warband Map to Everywhere All at Once, which shares exploration from any of your Warband characters. So if you want to see a pretty fully explored map on your brand new alt, you can do that now. So there's another piece of progression that's now shared across your entire account. A lot of currencies will also be account-wide, but not in the way that many folks probably hoped for. Some currencies will be flagged as Warband transferable, which will let you transfer that currency to any character straight from the currency tab. So normal buying vendor items to mail to an alt while losing 10% of the currency along the way, you can just transfer the currency, get 100% of it on your alt, and then buy whatever you need. Not every currency will be Warband-wide, but some very important ones in the next expansion are, and I know that the new currency coming in the pre-patch event will be as well, so we'll get to play around with that system soon enough. You're also going to have a brand new bank to fill up, the Warband bank. This is kind of like a guild bank with up to 5 tabs that you can unlock, but you can access this bank from any of your characters, and eventually you will actually be able to remote access it as well. So you can pop items in, professional materials, crafted stuff, potions, gold, anything you might want to send across your alts. Warband bound gear can also go in here, so you don't really ever have to mail anything to your alts ever again. You can only put stuff in here that you can trade to your alts though, so you won't be able to put any soul bound items in here, but it should free up a lot of space in your other banks either way. The Warband bank tabs do get quite expensive though, so the more gold you have, the more space you will have to stash away all of your Warband goodies. And then a lot of achievements have been changed to be Warband wide as well, including progress on these achievements. So for 90% of the time, you should be able to progress towards achievements across multiple characters from here on out. The Warband system is huge in its scope, and it will massively change how we play throughout the entire expansion, especially when it comes down to alts. We'll have plenty of time in the pre-patch to get used to the changes, so that's one less thing to adapt to when the expansion launches for real. We're also going to have a brand new character select screen. A lot of the options have moved around. You can find most of the key ones up at the top. The new login screen can have 4 of your characters for right now, but this could be expanded upon in a variety of ways moving forward, so you can drag your characters around in your list, set the 4 that you would consider to be your favourites, and then they'll be on this new screen with some animations now and again. But mostly it's just a really nice way to present your characters with a nice backdrop. There have been hints that we may see different settings and backgrounds later on in the expansion, and I personally think that would be an amazing reward from certain types of gameplay, but we've only got the campsite one for now. Either way, this is a really fun change coming with pre-patch, and I can't wait to see how it's expanded upon. Something else that kinda ties into the Warband system are the huge changes coming for transmog. The whole transmog system is being opened up quite significantly when pre-patch goes live. Right now, if you want to add a piece of gear to your transmog collection, you have to loot that item on a character that can use it. So to get male transmog, you need to play a hunter or a shaman. To get leather, you'd need to be on a demon hunter or a rogue, you get the idea. To earn a weapon transmog, your character would need to be able to actually use that weapon. This restricted how you could farm transmog, and you would always end up with a bunch of loot that you couldn't actually add to your collection because it wasn't for your class. That's all gone. When pre-patch hits, you'll be able to unlock any transmog for any piece of gear almost no matter what. It doesn't matter if you can't use it, it doesn't matter if it's not your armor type. So when a whole bunch of gear drops from raid bosses, you got some cloth in there, a couple of pieces of leather, a piece or 2 of mail, a plate helm, as well as some weapons thrown in. You will earn all of those transmogs regardless of the character you are playing. So farming transmog is just going to be so much easier, and you'll be able to fill up your collection much faster without having to jump around several different characters. You can just earn it all on one character now. This also includes any transmog you can unlock from purchasing ensembles from various different sources, like the Shadowlands Covenant gear sets from that expansion, or the transmog sets that you pick up from the WoW Remix event. Or even just individual pieces of gear like from reputations and factions. It doesn't matter if you can actually use the item on your character, you'll now be able to buy items to unlock for your other characters too, so earning and unlocking transmog should be a lot more straightforward, and you won't have to repeat content over and over again just to unlock different armor pieces from the same source. Now it's important to note that this doesn't mean you'll be able to actually use those transmogs on every character. You can still only transmog into cloth if you are a cloth wearer, or plate if you are a plate wearer, so this doesn't change what you can use, it just changes how you can unlock and gain access to those mogs. Now the main restriction still in place is that you can't unlock transmog for class-locked items, which usually just includes tier set pieces, but if anything has a strict class restriction on it, you will have to be playing that class to unlock the transmog when it drops. It's not just when you're looting items though, anytime you complete a quest, you will now automatically earn every available rewards transmog from that quest. So maybe you only get the mail piece because you're playing a hunter, but that quest would actually reward cloth, leather and plate wearers with different gear, and therefore different transmog, right? Previously you would have to do that quest on each armor type to be able to unlock all 4 pieces, but now you'll get all of that transmog the first time you do the quest, no matter what character you complete it on. So when we're heading through the War Within quest experience for the first time, we are going to be unlocking a whole bunch of transmog with every quest we hand in. You'll also be able to keep track of your transmog across different classes much better. At the top left of your collection window, you can change your class to view different armor types or class specific sets. And then you can do the same thing on the set window as well, though the class drop-down menu did move to the top right, so you won't have to change characters to explore your full transmog collection anymore, which is another great change. So all in all, transmog will be much easier to farm, there won't be as much wasted loot, and you won't have to be on a specific character to earn any specific transmog moving forward. All great changes in my opinion. We're also going to see a massive overhaul to how flying works. As we get ready for the War Within, the two distinct types of flying are being separated entirely. We now have sky riding, which is what dragon riding or dynamic flight was, and then we have steady flying, which is the old version of flying. Almost every mount in the game will be able to use either type of flying, so we're no longer limited to just the dragon riding drakes and dragons that we unlock throughout Dragonflight. Almost any mount can use sky riding, even the ones that don't have wings. You can see which mounts do or don't have access to sky riding in the mount journal. If you can sky ride with the mount, you'll be able to see text sky riding underneath the mount name, and as you can see, almost every flying mount has it enabled, so we have way more choice of what to ride around on after Prepatch goes live. At the top of your mount journal, you can find the button that lets you swap back and forth. Swapping is mostly free, you can swap anywhere you can fly, but you do have to be on the ground to dismount, and there is a 5-second cast to swap between the flying styles. The major restriction that is still in place is that you will have to earn an achievement in the War Within to be able to use steady flying in any of the new zones. This is kinda silly in my opinion. Steady flying doesn't really give you an advantage over skyriding in almost any way, so locking it behind an achievement unlock seems odd. Hopefully they change this before the expansion goes live, but that is a restriction you should be aware of. The whole dragon riding talent tree is also getting slimmed down quite significantly, and earning these talents as you level will be different. You earn skyriding proficiency as you level up to 70, which you can spend on new skyriding talents, so you don't have to collect dragon glyphs anymore, and while there will be new dragon riding or skyriding glyphs in the War Within, they won't give you any new talents or anything to unlock to play with. If you can't find your dragon riding talents anymore, there's a new button alongside the button that changes your flight style at the top of your mount journal. Just click that and it pops up with your talent tree. All of these flying changes are coming through with Prepatch, so we'll be able to tinker about with them in no time at all. The Prepatch will also be changing how leveling works quite significantly. To start with, there's going to be a massive reduction in the experience required to get from 1 to 70, with most of the reduction happening at the later levels. So there's up to an 80% less XP required for some levels 60 to 70, but an overall reduction of about 54%. That means it should be about twice as fast to level in Prepatch when compared to before it. The interesting part here is that these experience requirement changes should apply to all versions of retail, which includes WoW Remix. The Pandaria event is kind of in its own phase, but it's still running alongside retail, so the same XP reduction should apply to WoW Remix, which would make leveling ults through that event even faster, if that's possible. We can already level up to 70 in just 2 hours, so having those massive XP reductions for the later portions of leveling in place will speed that up quite dramatically. I'm very interested to see how quickly folks can level in Prepatch, because I think it's going to be pretty insane. So if you want to level some ults, it may be worth waiting until after Prepatch hits to make things even faster. The main exception here would be for Evokers. When the Prepatch arrives, Evokers will no longer start at level 58, they will instead start at level 10. So if you want to level up an Evoker sometime but haven't gotten around to it yet, I would recommend you create your Evoker, or Evokers if you want to make them on multiple servers, before the Prepatch arrives, as they will essentially start 48 levels lower after the Prepatch hits live servers. Another huge leveling change coming with the Prepatch is an adjustment of the default leveling experience. If you're not sure what this is, basically if you are brand new to WoW, you don't get to choose how or where to level. You go through Exile's Reach, and then you have to play through the Battle for Azeroth storyline and quests. That's not super ideal, because that whole storyline isn't really relevant anymore, and it was kind of a huge jump from the Exile's Reach straight into figuring out a war between the Horde and Alliance, while battling for the fate of the world and healing wounds and all that jazz. So with Prepatch, the default leveling experience will instead shift to Dragonflight, so now newer players will go through Exile's Reach and then get funneled straight into Dragonflight, which should be a much better experience in my opinion. Dragonflight was a fresh start, the story is easier to follow, players will be exposed to dragon riding very early on, which makes the entire game so much more fun and feel a lot more modern, and it should just better prepare them for the War Within, so that's going to be a fantastic change. But perhaps the most important factor here is that chromie time is being updated to cover everything up to the most recent expansion, so you don't get to level 60 and then go through Dragonflight and then get to move on to the War Within. Chromie time now covers up to level 70, which is how the system should work, and it should keep getting updated to cover the ever-growing leveling portion to separate the game into two clear parts, before the current expansion and then the current expansion. Keep that line very clear and it will make the new player experience much better overall, in my opinion. So if you end up leveling some alts outside of the WoW Remix event, you can do whatever you want through chromie time up to 70 instead of being forced through Dragonflight yet again. We're also going to see all of the major class changes coming in the expansion. Quite a few classes and specs are being totally reworked, while others are just seeing a handful of updates. You should see your class talent tree move around quite a bit, with new talents and options to explore, and your spec tree will probably change even more. Lots of abilities are being made baseline, a lot of talent trees will have much fewer multi-point nodes, letting you spread your talents out a bit more, which is definitely more interesting in my opinion, and we'll have the entire pre-patch to get used to the new talent trees and builds on offer, which also means you'll have plenty of time to see if you like the changes and maybe tinker about with different classes to find the one that you enjoy the most. Now you may be wondering about the hero talents, and while the UI may be included in the pre-patch to let you look through the various options available to each spec and see what kinds of bonuses we'll be unlocking later, the system itself doesn't become available until level 71, so we won't be able to use any hero talents until we start leveling in the expansion for real, so you may be able to preview them but not actually unlock any of them just yet. And then we're also going to have a new pre-patch event to look forward to that lets us quickly gear up alts and pick up various rewards, including a new heirloom ring. Throughout the event we'll be collecting residual memories, a new currency that you can use to purchase various new rewards. During the event, 3 different zones will experience Radient Echoes, Dustwaller Marsh, Dragonblight and Searing Gorge. The main part of the event starts when the zones swap over, so the new zone will have a larger event with mini-bosses, memory events and a big boss at the end. The zone will remain active for quite a while after that, during which time you can find remembered monsters scattered around the zone which reward you with residual memory currency when killed. You can complete daily quests to earn more of the currency, so this will probably end up being one of the major sources throughout the event, and there's a daily quest for each zone, and then we'll also be able to trade this currency between your alts thanks to the Warband system. So if you have plenty of alts going into this event, you may be able to earn all of the rewards much faster by completing the daily quests on multiple characters and then funneling all of the currency to one character. As for rewards, you can spend this currency to purchase item level 480 veteran gear, which can be traded to any of your characters thanks to the new Warband bound until equipped tag, so you can trade it between your alts or just pop it into your Warband bank to make trading to multiple characters much easier, and with it being veteran gear, you should also be able to upgrade this stuff until the expansion launches, so that's nice as well. There are a handful of mounts and pets to collect. You can purchase bags if you really need them on alts or what have you, and then you can also pick up this lifeless ring, which when combined with essences from the event will turn into the Band of Radient Echoes, a new heirloom ring that should be great for any alts you have in the future. And then we'll see pretty much every important icon on the world map get updated. This includes rare monsters, events, some quests, cave entrances, teleporters, the Great Vault, the Catalyst, pet battles, dungeon and raid entrances, and even flight paths. For the most part, the icons look cleaner and they all fit together now, and they'll also match the newer icons that we'll see in the War Within, like delves. There are also some new user interface options which are kind of interesting. There's a silhouette when obstructed option that puts an outline around your character whenever something is blocking the view of your character, like a tree or some other part of the environment, so you don't entirely lose where you are, even if you can't actually see very well, so that's kind of cool. The spellbook has been redesigned and it's now in the same window as your talents, so if you can't find your spells when the pre-patch goes live, that's probably why. And then there's also a new camera option to allow for the camera to kind of ignore obstructions in the environment. So right now, whenever the camera would kind of get stuck behind something, it just zips super close to you, which can be super annoying in dungeons or raids when that quick camera movement can get you killed pretty easily. This new option allows the camera to stay zoomed out even if the view of your character is obstructed. This is going to be huge for any situation where the environment is a bit wonky or too close. There have been so many times where a random branch or tree or small boss arena makes the camera angle super weird, so I'm definitely looking forward to this one for sure. This option can only be activated or deactivated using a console command for right now, so if you want to try it out you can find the command in the description below. The only piece of this puzzle left uncovered is a release date, and while we don't have a confirmed date just yet, we do have a very strong hint that Prepatch will go live on July 30th. With the recent PTR update, a splash screen for the Prepatch event says, "Vanquish foes from Azeroth's past as memories resurface, available July 30th, which doesn't really leave much up to interpretation. That's also about 4 weeks before the War Within expansion launches, which is very typical for Prepatches, so July 30th is looking like a strong contender for a release date right now, so that's when I'll be planning around. The Prepatch is actually available to test on the PTR, so anyone can hop in and see these changes in action and help test out the Warband feature, so if you want to play around with anything specific before it goes live, keep that in mind. But that covers pretty much every major change coming in the War Within Prepatch, and which expansion systems or features are coming a bit earlier than everything else. What are you most looking forward to as we head into the War Within? Was there anything missing from this list that you think everyone needs to know about? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and to all of our members here on YouTube. You can see the names floating by on screen. If you're interested in supporting the channel, you can find links in the description or click the join button just below this video. If you enjoyed the video or found it useful in any way, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you're always kept up to date. Thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.